Today, low distress sale counts do not prove the property market is fine. Hello again, it's Martin North from Digital Finance Analytics. Welcome to this post covering finance and property news with a distinctively Australian flavour. Despite the rising pressures on mortgaged households from rising interest rates, raging inflation and flat incomes, some argue that the current low count of distressed sales suggests most households are doing just fine and therefore the property market is fine too. And they often go on then to question our mortgage stress surveys, which of course looks at the whole financial footprint of a household, not just a mortgage repayment, based on real disposable incomes. In fact, we see around 45% of borrowers really under extreme pressure at the moment. So what's going on? Well, the truth is many households are presenting their properties for sale as normal listings rather than distressed, and lenders are often the prime mover for this decision. Plus, many are refinancing with equity withdrawal to provide at least a short-term buffer so they do not need to sell, at least for now. So what is the true state of play? Well, the problem is that data on distressed sales is actually hard to come by. Actually, SQM Research does a pretty good job of tracking distressed sales, but by querying property listings for a series of specific terms. But of course, not all listings that are distressed contain those keywords. Some would not want to disclose it's a distressed sale, not least because it might drive the price down. And we agree. The SQM data does indeed show a relatively small number of distressed sale listings at the moment. So superficially, this might support a positive view of property, at least for now. But there is a whole lot more going on about distressed sales and the alternatives which may be open to households under financial pressure. To understand this better, we can look at a recent article published by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which is a US government agency that implements and enforces federal consumer financial law and ensures that markets for consumer financial products are fair, transparent, and competitive. The article's headed, "For many struggling mortgage borrowers with home equity, selling their home could be an alternative to foreclosures." And they say, mortgage services are often the first to communicate with struggling homeowners about options available to them to avoid foreclosure. In today's market, many homeowners, including those potentially facing foreclosures, have sufficient equity in their homes that a traditional sale could be a better alternative to foreclosure. Services can remind homeowners that a traditional sale might be one option to avoid foreclosure, and services can, and in many circumstances are required to, refer homeowners to an approved housing counselling agency to discuss their options. And services may want to suggest homeowners contact a real estate agent if the distressed homeowner is considering selling their home. They say as a result of the ongoing pandemic, many homeowners are facing foreclosure, especially those who were delinquent at the start of the pandemic and who therefore may be at heightened risk. Although foreclosure starts are relatively low compared to pre-pandemic levels, according to Black Knight's mortgage data, November 2022 saw an increase of 23,400 foreclosure starts, which represented 2 consecutive months of increases. The foreclosure process can be expensive for homeowners and affects wealth accumulation, which is further impacted by the costs of the foreclosure process. A homeowner's average cost from a completed foreclosure was approximately $12,500 in 2021 dollars terms after adjusting for inflation, as noted in the Mortgage Servicing COVID-19 Final Rule. The costs and fees associated with foreclosure can reduce the proceeds a homeowner can get from selling their home. Generally, these fees include late charges, title fees, property maintenance charges, and legal fees associated with the mortgage services foreclosure attorney. Foreclosure damages a consumer's credit and stays on their credit report for a number of years. Given that, homeowners may end up paying higher interest rates on future home purchases and on other products they buy with credit, even if those credit products are not related to owning a home. But they say selling the home may be a better alternative to foreclosure and can make financial sense for homeowners with equity. Given rising rents, it may make economic sense for many struggling homeowners who are delinquent or could be at risk of delinquency to remain in their home if possible. A payment deferral, standalone partial claim, or loan modification is often the preferred option. However, if these or other home retention options are unaffordable for a homeowner, a traditional sale is one strategy to help them avoid foreclosure. Many struggling homeowners have accumulated equity. Black Knight reports that the share of total equity on mortgage property is sizable, and 81% of homeowners in active foreclosure had at least 10% equity in their home as at the third quarter of 2022. And by the way, Black Knight defines tappable equity as the share of equity that could be withdrawn while still maintaining an 80% or lower loan-to-value ratio. Customer service representatives, real estate professionals, and housing counsellors can help in the traditional sale process. Servicers are reminded that Regulation X requires servicers to reach out to delinquent borrowers promptly to discuss available loss mitigation options, and servicers may in those circumstances, in addition to reviewing other available options, discuss the possibility of a traditional sale with the homeowner. A traditional sale may benefit a homeowner compared to a short-term and long-term effects of foreclosure when the loan modification or short-term loss mitigation option is not available. There are resources that services can use to help homeowners understand the option of a traditional sale for homeowners who may otherwise be at risk of losing their home to foreclosure. And in fact, they even provide sample language that can be used to inform homeowners of the option to sell their home. Often, the mortgage services phone representatives are the first line of communication with homeowners. For this reason, services are encouraged to provide information and training to representatives so they are ready to have conversations with equity-positive homeowners facing foreclosure about the possible advantages of selling the home. Of course, conversations about selling the home cannot substitute for the Regulation X requirements that mortgage services present all available loss mitigation alternatives to borrowers. And to help homeowners who are considering a traditional sale, services can point out ways that homeowners can find current estimates of their home's value. Online sites and local real estate professionals can provide free estimates of property values, and real estate professionals with first-hand experience and local knowledge can help owners understand the housing environment, housing supply shortages, and seasonal shifts in home sales. All of this can help inform a homeowner's decision about when and if to put their home on the market. And services can also direct homeowners to a housing counsellor who can help them understand the implications of each foreclosure avoidance option. Now, this is a very important point because we know in Australia a number of people who are sailing close to the wind in terms of their financial position and mortgage repayments are actually being actively encouraged to sell by the banks. It's not a conversation that is much reported, of course, because, well, nobody really wants to talk about it. But actually, the argument goes like this. Your financial circumstances have fundamentally changed, and it's unlikely that you will be able to maintain mortgage repayments into the future. However, what we will do is give you the opportunity over the next few months to proceed with a normal house sale, and that would give you time to pay the mortgage off and leave the property. And of course, that is a much more palatable option for the banks because then don't need to report anything other than a normal mortgage repayment process in train. They would not be counted as in hardship or indeed in distress or indeed in default. So the point I'm making is that in the current environment and given the run-up in home prices that is very strong over the last couple of years, many people who are in difficulty from a mortgage repayment process are being encouraged to exit in an orderly fashion. Now, whether that's good for them or good for the banks is an interesting question. It certainly gives the banks a way out, but sometimes I don't believe that homeowners are getting the good advice that they need, and my recommendation in Australia is that anybody who's facing these sorts of issues should get independent financial advice. And of course, as I've said on a number of occasions, the government scheme on 1-800-007-007 is where you can get financial counselling advice. And I do recommend that as a course of action if you are facing into the problem of trying to maintain your mortgage repayments. Speaking to the bank is a good idea too, but remember, banks tend to look after their own interests ahead of the borrowers. But the bottom line is this. The idea that you can argue that because distress sale numbers are very low, everything is fine in the property market is so simplistic as to be frankly stupid. There is a lot more going on here than meets the eye. I'm Martin North from Digital Finance Analytics. Many thanks for watching, and I'll see you again later.